Please like, share and subscribe channel for more ghost stories. Also, share your experiences in comments. Before I share one of my many experiences, I'd like everyone to keep an open mind and understand the fact that, even if you don't believe in God or in any entity/entities that exist beyond this physical realm, it is perfectly fine. But please do consider this: the laws of nature and science dictate that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If there exists something positive, there will always be a negative to balance it out, and vice versa. Each and everything in this universe is accounted for. The magnitude of energy in this universe/creation is constant. But it constantly changes its forms to balance the scales between and dash. My parents expired by the time I was 15. Since then, I've been living alone in this house. It's an apartment with one hall, a bedroom, a kitchen, and of course the toilet and bathroom. I'll try to paint a picture of my house. When you climb up the steps in our building, the door to my house is on the left side of stairs. Once you enter the door, you've entered the living room. Diagonally left to the door, which is in the lower right corner of the house schematics from the top view, is the passage that directly leads to the kitchen. While traversing the passage, on the left side are the toilet and bathroom, and on the right is the bedroom. So basically, if I look out of my bedroom through the bedroom door, I'll see the kitchen. And this is where it all began. We are Hindus. My mom was a pious devotee. And this is the incident she told me which happened with her. She was newly married to my dad and shifted to this new house they purchased together. Our building was a part of a colony that was being constructed at that time. 1980s, in a place where development had just begun. The natives of that place were tribal for the most part. The hunter-gatherer types. Hope you have enjoyed the ghost stories. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more ghost stories. I wasn't born back then, and mom-dad used to sleep in the bedroom. Including my parents, there were 4 other families who had purchased a property in our building with 32 apartments. So 28 were basically vacant, and I'm telling you all this just to give you a fair idea about the number of people around them. Very less. As I was saying, mom-dad used to sleep in the bedroom back then, and if you looked through the bedroom door, you would be able to see the kitchen, the cooking platform and the window above the cooking platform. It was barely a month since they moved in, and dad sometimes used to come back home late from work. Sometimes it would be as late as 2 a.m. in the night, and mom would stay up waiting for him. One such night at around 1 a.m. mom was sitting in the bedroom waiting up for him and listening to radio. Suddenly the radio started making these weird frequency tuning noises and stopped working altogether suddenly. Some additional info for you guys: the lights in all other rooms except the room occupied by them would be turned off to minimize the use of electricity and reduce our bills. So at that time only the light in the bedroom was on and rest of the lights were off. Mom thought that the batteries must have died in the radio, so she wanted to get spare batteries from the miscellaneous storage from kitchen. The moment she opened the bedroom to go the kitchen, what she saw sent chills down to the very core of her soul. She saw a 4-legged entity trying to climb down from the kitchen ceiling onto the kitchen cooking platform. That entity was fully dressed in white, or it was luminescent because it was clearly visible in that unlit kitchen. Imagine you opening a door to see something crawl down on all its 4s from the ceiling. My mom was brave enough because she was pious and always had faith in her belief of God. She closed the bedroom door as she opened it, sat on the bed and started praying. The bedroom door started rattling as if someone is trying to push it open. Mom was no doubt scared, but she kept on reciting the chants of Lord Krishna, and she didn't realize when she fell asleep. Soon dad arrived and she told this incident to him. He just shrugged it off as her mere imagination, and they went to bed. That night itself, mom started feeling uneasy in her sleep and got up to grab a glass of water, and she looked through the bedroom door, which used to be kept open if dad was in the house. She once again saw that white luminous entity, but this time it was standing leaning on the platform of the kitchen like a human leaning against the wall. Mom described it as having no distinct facial features. Just a glowing humanoid entity. Once again mom simply went to bed while chanting Lord Krishna's name. Next day she placed a photo of a saint in the kitchen, and since then the entity was never seen again physically, but mom always felt some presence which she told me to be aware of a few days before her death. To be honest with everyone reading this answer, I never believed in all this until I started experiencing it myself. If you guys are genuinely interested in knowing about this, mom had dug deeper to try and understand this phenomenon and shared a lot of surprising information with me. She learned that the name of this entity is the Arrogant One. It feeds on the life force/health of living beings, be it animals or humans. Just like some entities feed on fear, similarly, this entity feeds on the life force. It starts by feeding off on the primary member of the family or the strongest one. For example, in a nuclear family of 3 members consisting of a husband, wife, and a child, it would start feeding off on the husband, then wife, and then the child. And if you guys still need some proof, we are a Hindu Brahmin vegetarian family. My dad was a healthy and a fit person who used to play state-level cricket. A non-drinker and a non-smoker who died of kidney failure at a ripe age of 54. My mom, within a span of 1 year from dad's death, went into a coma without any reason for it to happen. She was a healthy woman too, with no real worries and employed with SBI. If you guys think that she was depressed because of his death, nope, she wasn't. She was the most practical person I've come across in my life. I can even tell you how this happened. One night after dad's death, mom and I were sleeping in the living room. After my birth, mom and dad started sleeping in the living room. I heard some sobbing, and woke up to realize that mom was crying in her sleep. She was asleep but crying. I woke her up and asked her what happened. Her first response was, "Who are you?" I was dumbfounded. She couldn't recognize me. Her own son. I tried to remind her but was unsuccessful. I immediately called my maternal uncles and informed them this is what is happening, that mom is acting weird and not recognizing me, and is asking me to go away and to leave her alone. One of my uncles came over in an hour with an ambulance and we got her admitted to a prestigious hospital in Mumbai. Yeah, I'm from Mumbai. The moment we reached the hospital, mom, who was struggling to get out of the ambulance and fighting, arguing with me and my uncle, whom she didn't recognize as well, suddenly fell flat on the ambulance bed and didn't wake up. Doctors said she has gone into a coma for unknown reasons. All I remember them now saying is that all her hormones were in place. Her medical reports were absolutely normal. Better than a normal person, as it was supposed to be, since she was a health and cleanliness obsessed woman. Doctors could never find the reason for her going into a comatose state. Weirdest part is that she woke up being her usual self within a week of getting out of that house. Imagine a person just waking up one morning at 7 a.m. after having a good night's sleep. This is exactly how she woke up and didn't remember the past 7 to 8 days, neither the fact that she couldn't remember me or anyone before going into a coma. The weirdest thing she told us was, the last thing she clearly could remember was working in the kitchen when I was away at college in the afternoon. She was totally normal, and even the doctors couldn't believe that. How could a person who just woke up from coma miraculously within a week's time, act as if everything is fine and dandy? We shifted back to the house in a couple of days from the hospital, and mom's health, this time physical health, began deteriorating. She was a healthy person. In over a year, she dropped kgs like it was a joke, and next year she died of multiple organ failure. A healthy person, no more, just like that. And during this 1 year, before her death and her coming out of the coma, mom told me about this entity. I never believed it. I could never believe it like any sane person would. But as I said, I was next in line. After mom's death, I decided to not shift to my uncle's house and live on my own while studying. I decided to be independent. Now a little about me. Everyone on my mom's side of the family is chubby and healthy. So was I, so was mom. This kind of being fat is genetic. I was around 95 kgs when mom died. Then within a span of 1 year, I dropped down to 58 kgs. I had become skinny, weak, drooping. I started having a massive hair fall problem, and there's so much more, but still I would never believe in what mom said. But this following incident changed my perspective and made me leave that house for good. I decided to make a few changes in the house to make it look better. So I replaced some furniture and changed the placement of a few things here and there. I used to sleep in the living room as well even after mom's demise. So one such thing whose place I moved from its original place was the photo of that saint from the kitchen. I had removed it altogether and placed it in the bedroom besides the idols of other gods. The very next day all hell broke loose. I went to college in the morning and I used to give my house key to the neighbor auntie before I left. When I came back home in the afternoon, I went to my neighbor auntie to ask for the key. Huh? You just arrived from college? Then who was that I heard opening and closing your door 3 to 4 times just a while ago? I thought you must be trying to open your door and you're facing a difficulty trying to open it, so I opened my door to check up on you. But your door was being rattled from the inside of the house, so I thought you must have gone in with a spare key and you're back home. So I went back to doing my work. I was shocked to the core on hearing this. So I told my neighbor auntie that no, I arrived just now and to accompany me to open my house door. She realized I was scared and shocked, so she called another guy from our building and we 3 went to open the door of my house suspecting that there were thieves. Now I'll explain what's on the door inside my house. There is a lock and there is a latch. The lock can be opened from outside with the door key, but the latch is just a primitive slide in the slot mechanism which needs to be done manually from inside the house. Now I opened the door lock with the key, and tried opening the door, but it wouldn't open. All 3 of us tried to open the door but it wouldn't open. Then we resorted to brute force, and it made a loud commotion, thus a lot of people from the building came to see what was going on. They were made aware of the situation and everyone was on the edge. I tried breaking the door open and after a lot of pushing and ramming, the door finally opened with a thud and something came off the door. Yes, it was the latch that was still in its socket as the whole thing broke and fell off. Someone/something had locked the door from inside the house. To our horror, every window in the house was wide open. My childhood photo, which was hung tight on the wall since the past 20 years in the living room, had fallen down and broken. Yes, the photo itself had broken, and not just the glass, the chairs and dining table were upside down and there was nobody in the house as we suspected. You must be thinking that the thief must have had escaped from the window. Let me tell you, my windows have metal grills on the outside which are designed specifically for anti-theft. Everyone who saw the condition of my house at that time were convinced of something supernatural did this. Next day I went to live with my maternal uncle at his house and I've been staying here since then. I've gone back to my usual chubby genetic physique. But I know a day will come when I'll have to shift back to that house again. God help me then. As you guys have already created a mental picture of how my house looks like, I'll tell you about how it looked like after I made those changes in furniture and the general internal structure. Please note that this wasn't a one-day process. I kept on making small changes in furniture and objects in the house over the course of time. As I have mentioned earlier that I shifted to my maternal uncle's place after the aforementioned incident, but before that happened, there were various other minor incidents. My friends used to come over to my place regularly. It had become our adage to meet up every evening just to relax or chill and talk. One of the changes I made in the house which I want to highlight is the location of the sofa. It was placed facing the passage to the kitchen. Earlier it was placed touching the opposite wall facing the main house door. So now, after replacing its position, if one would sit on that sofa, he/she could all the way see the kitchen. Besides the sofa there was a small bed on which I used to sleep. Also there were 2 chairs adjacent to the passage entrance. So 2 people would sit in the 2 chairs, 3 would occupy the sofa, and me along with anyone else from the group would sit on the bed and have our regular chit-chat sessions. We used to have sleepovers at my place every other weekend. Just to be clear, no alcohol was ever involved, It was just us friends watching series, playing games, boys stuff. I had strictly instructed them to never ever sleep in the bedroom or kitchen. Never explained them why. I always gave them some generic reasons for the same, like, I haven't cleaned the rooms, or if we talk in there, it would disturb the neighbors, etc. They weren't bothered to cross-question this as well, so everything was going great. One such summer night we all were up late till 2:30 a.m. and since it was a Sunday the next day, we decided to have a sleepover at my place. So 2 people slept on the chairs, 3 on the sofa, and I was sleeping alone on the bed. One of my friends went back home, so there were 6 of us. One of my friends, let's call him C, who was sleeping on the sofa along with other 2, couldn't sleep well because it was crammed and he was feeling hot because I always used to keep the windows closed 24/7. They weren't lying down, just sleeping in whatever upright position would allow them to sleep. So he woke up and decided to sleep in the bedroom by turning on the AC. We all were in deep sleep by then. At around 7 in the morning, one of my friends had to leave due to some emergency and the rest of them decided to go along with him except C, who was sleeping in the bedroom. So without waking me up they just left, and I didn't really pay any attention because the sleepover thing had become kind of a routine. They all thought that C must have left early without waking anyone up. Nobody knew he was sleeping in the bedroom with the door closed and AC on. I woke up at around 10 a.m. and wanted to use the washroom, and to my surprise it was locked from the inside. I could feel the cold air from the bedroom, which was now open. I asked loudly if anyone was using the washroom, and C responded that he is using it. I was a bit surprised, but then again was accustomed to this randomness in my house. Later we went to have tea, and while talking with C he sounded grumpy and a little pissed off. I asked him what's up, and these are his words, and I quote, "These guys didn't let me sleep peacefully, man. I went into sleep at around 4 in the bedroom and they kept on knocking the door. I even opened the door twice and checked on you guys in the living room, but everyone was pretending to be fast asleep. I thought someone is trolling me, so I couldn't sleep well at all. Now I'll have to go home and sleep again." I immediately understood what was going on. None of my other friends knew he was sleeping in the bedroom, neither did I. I asked him if the knocking was constant. He said it was happening at regular intervals. I just said okay and didn't discuss this further with anyone. Later that evening I asked the rest of my peeps if they knew that C was sleeping in the bedroom. They all unanimously said no. In fact, they were under the impression that he must have gone home early since he had a bike and lived hardly 5 minutes from my place. This was one of those incidents which made my belief in this entity stronger. And this might sound very cliché, but not just me, even my friends used to feel that they are being watched, but we, especially I, always shrugged it off as mere mind games. There are many such incidents wherein the entity tried to prove its existence to me. I had grown accustomed to it.